Abraham went to God on behalf of Lot and his family and said, God, I know you upset, I know you angry, but if you could just please do me this solid. If I could just find 5 people, Jesus, would you get those 5 people out? And God said, yes, I'll do it. God honored the request. But now, look at this. As soon as God is getting ready to transition them, what does Lot begin to say? Don't make me run so far. Don't make me run so far. Now, whenever you read Genesis 19, only thing that's talked about is Sodom and Gomorrah, sexual immorality, God don't like gay people, and yada, yada, yada. That's what people equate that whole thing to. We never stop to take a look at the part where God is delivering them out of something and moving them into something else. And then Lot says, please don't make me run so far. Don't make me run so far. But yet, you done had everybody petitioning God on your behalf to get you out of a situation and to free you from something. And then when God begins to free you, he creates this pathway and he gives you a place to go to, and you got to start making the track to it. You begin to then say, don't make me run so far. Let's put that into layman's terms. Don't make me do so much work. Don't make me do so much work for my freedom. Don't make me have to work so hard to be free. Don't make me work so hard for this new life. Don't make me work so hard for my new freedom. Don't make me work so hard for my deliverance. Don't make me work so hard for it, God. I want it, but God, I don't want to do the work for it. We've gotten to the place where we think that God is just going to snap his fingers and then everything changes, and it removes us from being accountable and actually doing the work necessary to get to the next place. God's already set up the deliverance. God's already set up the place. He took care of the hard part for you. God's getting ready to destroy the place where you grew up and that you lived and that you built a family. He's getting ready to destroy that place, and he's built you a new place. But because things are getting difficult, because they're getting tough, because they're getting hard, just saying, God, don't make me run so far. God, don't make me run so hard. Don't make me work so hard for this thing. Why? Because we refuse to die to the sin and to the flesh that's around us. We've gotten too comfortable in our mess. We've gotten too comfortable with this group of people. We've gotten too comfortable with this thing. Right? We've gotten too comfortable with it. And now that God's actually trying to remove us from it and honor the request, we're saying, God, don't make me work so hard for it. Get this. This is what the angel said to him. Now run to save your life. He told this man, run to save your life. This is a life-changing encounter for you. This is a life-changing movement for you. This is a life-changing situation. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is not a thank you, God, for delivering me. Thank you, God, for setting my family free. Thank you, God, for answering everybody's prayers that done prayed for me. Thank you, God, for actually taking the time to create something new for me. But the first thing is a complaint that says, God, don't make me run so far. There's somebody else that wants your deliverance a lot more than you do. And the way that you thank God is by slapping the face that says, God, don't make me work so hard for it. But yet you got people right now that would kill to have to run as far as you have to. You got people that's been dealing with stuff for year after year after year. But yet you complain, God, don't make me work so hard for this. You sit and you cry. You sit and you sulk. You sit and you pray. You sit and you worry. You sit and do all these things. But the common word in all of that is you do what? Sit. Then when you finally get the courage to get up, because it looks just like it's a little bit too far, you don't want to do it no more. So what happens? You fall back into the trap and into the bondage where Satan had you at before. Why? Because Satan wasn't going to make you work that hard. See, Satan was going to bring the stuff right to you. Satan was going to wait on you hand and foot. Satan was going to give you everything that you wanted and everything that you needed, everything that you ever loved. Why? Because it was going to keep you right where he wanted you. But now, when your Father, when your God is deciding, I've created this new place for you, you're saying, don't make me work so hard. God, this is too tough. God, this is hurting my heart. God, this is doing all these things to me. God, this is doing that. God is saying, listen, I didn't ask you what it was going to do to you because I built you for it. God didn't care about how far you have to run to get your deliverance. Why? Because God says that he will do what? Not put more on you than you can bear. God knows how much you can handle. He said if you would have a mustard seed amount of faith. And so now, if God said if you would just have a mustard seed amount of faith, and then he said this, I've dealt each man the measure of faith. God knows how much faith he's dealt to you and how much faith you can stand to handle. And so he's not going to put nothing on you that's going to cause you to be overwhelmed and overstressed and overworked with the faith that he's dealt to you. He wants you to use up the faith that you have. But you get to the place of complacency and say, God, Satan was giving me everything. You're making me work for it. I know you want to deliver me. I know this is wrong, but I think I'm going to stay right here. Why? Because I'm comfortable. You wonder why people who've been delivered from drugs and alcohol for 25 years end up going back. Because they missed the place of comfort. They missed the place of convenience. They missed not having to work so hard for something. But God took his time to deliver you and to set you free. And all you can think about is, God, this is too far. It says this, don't look back at the city and don't stop anywhere in the valley. Run until you are in the mountains. If you stop, you will be destroyed with the city. Verse 18, but Lot said to the two men, sirs, please don't force me to run so far. Verse 19, you've been very kind to me, your servant. You have been very kind to save me, but I cannot run all the way to the mountains. What if... Let's stop right there. See, when it comes to dying to our flesh, we consider too many things. We consider too many options. What if? What if? My wife, she was saying something to me a couple weeks ago and just telling me to shoot my shot. Just, hey, go take a shot at it. What's the best that can happen? And I said, what's the worst that can happen, right? She said, what's the best that can happen? And I stopped. I said, oh. That's good. What's the best that can happen? Because if I begin to shift my thought process and my mindset and stop asking the question, what's the worst that can happen? I can stop giving life a challenge to tell me what the worst that can happen really is. But when I start saying, what's the best that can happen? Then all these other options start coming my way. Oh, that happened? You mean to tell me there's something that's even greater than that can happen? There's something that's even better than that can happen? Why? Because I'm shifting my thought process and my words. I don't compromise with what cannot happen. I begin to compromise with what can happen. I begin to imagine and envision all the things that can happen. And because I begin to envision what can happen, the law of attraction begins to work. What you reap is what you sow. What you sow is what you reap. And so now I begin to sow thoughts of greatness happening. I begin to sow thoughts of manifestation happening. I begin to sow thoughts of things producing. And when I begin to shift my thought process and say, what's the best that can happen? I begin to see other options come my way. Now I get to pick what I want. Now I get to pick which offer I choose. Now I get to pick who I work with. Now I get to pick what I charge. Now I get to pick it. Why? Because I made a decision to say, what's the best that can happen? But if I would have stood with, what's the worst that can happen? I ain't getting no phone calls. I got to drop my prices. I can't work with nobody. I got to take any and everything that come my way. I got to work for free for a little while in order to build my stuff up. I got to do all of this stuff. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is I can actually not get one phone call ever again. Why? Because I gave life a challenge when I made the statement, what's the worst that can happen? But when I begin to shift and doubt in my flesh and say, what's the best that can happen? The heavens opened up because God said, this is the best. The best is yet to come. Get ready for it. But so many times God drops something in your spirit and you begin to say, what if? What if I can't make it? What if I can't make it all the way through the process? What if I can't make it all the way to the finish line? What if I can't make it through to this God? What if I fall? What if I slip? That's why people keep little bottles of alcohol around the house to where their family can't find it, just in case they decide they want to slip. This is why people hold on to birth control pills that's not married, just in case. They keep that Plan B prescription, just in case I slip. They keep the condoms laying around, just in case. Just in case. Just in case. Just in case. See, you get rid of the weed, but you keep the weed man's number just in case. I mean, I'm just saying. You break up with the person, but you keep their number just in case by Valentine's Day you ain't got nobody yet, just in case. Just in case. We keep so many compromises around us that it makes it hard to die. Because we've left so many options open and we've left the enemy there. Don't give the enemy a place to be. If you're going to get rid of it all. If you're going to get rid of the weed and flush it down the toilet, delete the contact. Change your number.